Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing great. So today we are starting with the indicator species, and this is one of the most important topic from ecological principle, that is from CSIR net syllabus. Okay. Apart from this, we are going to discuss different kind of species. It may be like invasive species, umbrella species, keystone species. So one by one we are going to cover all these different kind of species, and after completing the different type of species in a single video, we will try to deal with some CSIR net question that has been asked in the previous year. Because in the question they are not asking about only one kind of species. Okay, there is a, like you can say that there is a merging of different kind of species, like they have given different kind of definitions, and then they are asking that match this definition with the appropriate name. Okay, so for that you should be knowing with the different types of species. So that is why first of all we are covering this indicator species, and one by one we are going to deal with the different kind of species. So if we see the name, so it is an indicator species. Species we already know, but in this case we are talking about the living things. Okay, so sometime instead of indicator species, it is also known as a bioindicator species, because this species is a living thing. Okay, so that is why we used to add a one more tag, that is the bioindicator species. So these species, mainly the indicator species, they are going to indicate some of the adverse condition which we are going to see in environment. Okay, so directly we can say that they are dragging our attention toward any kind of adverse condition that we are going to see in environment or in ecosystem. So let's proceed with the introductory portion of this indicator species, and we also call it as a bioindicator species. So in the first line it has been mentioned, an indicator species describe an organism that is very sensitive to environmental changes in its ecosystem. So the indicator species are those species which are very sensitive to any kind of adverse condition. If there is something like bad happening in that particular environment, obviously, as because they are very sensitive, that is the indicator species are very sensitive, so obviously they are going to get the earlier effect, we can say. Okay, they are going to show the earlier indication that yes, there is something wrong with this particular environment. Next, it has been mentioned, the indicator species are almost immediately affected by the changes to the ecosystem and can give early warning that a habitat is suffering. So that is what I have just told you, that they have the capability to show the effect in a earliest phase. Okay, like if there is something adverse condition that is present in an ecosystem, so obviously like we are going to get attention toward that in a very later time. Okay, because we are human beings, obviously we can't detect the whole adverse condition at a very initial time, but the indicator species has the capability to detect that particular problem in the earliest phase, because they are starting, they started showing any kind of a different changes in their body, as well as changes in their abundance, and there are many more indication. Okay, like they used to show this indication with different kind of behavior, and that we are going to see in the next line. In the second point, it has been mentioned, changes associated with the external influence such as the water pollution, air pollution, or climate change first appear in the indicator species. For this reason, indicator species are sometimes known as a sentinel species. Okay, so if there is any kind of adverse condition, whether there the adverse condition is related to the water pollution or air pollution, or there is a change in the climatic condition, obviously all these things are going to affect indicator species at the very initial time. Okay, and for this reason, like if we have the capability, or if we used to do study on indicator species, obviously we could easily able to detect that yes, there is something wrong with this particular environment. Okay, and according to that only we can take the different measures to protect that particular environment, and for this reason they are also known as the sentinel species. Sentinel means like something which is going to give guard. Okay, which is guarding something so that it could get protected from anything. Okay, like soldiers, for soldiers sometimes we use the term that is sentinel, because they are protecting our country from the enemies. Okay, so that is why they are also sometimes regarded as a sentinel, because they are giving us the early indication of adverse condition in ecosystem. In the last line it has been mentioned, an indicator species is a species whose presence, absence, or abundance and changes therein can indicate certain environmental condition. Changes in indicator species population are used to monitor changes in a particular ecosystem, and sometimes trends affect the environment as a whole. So now the question is that how they are showing the indication. So the indication may be due to the presence, it may be absence, or it may be abundance. So for example, suppose there is a particular environment that is the healthy environment. Okay, so there you are going to see the abundance of, let's consider a species A. So there is an abundance of A species in that particular healthy environment. All of a sudden, if there is any kind of pollution or adverse condition, so all of a sudden what is going to happen? There will be a decrease in the population of species A, and that is what going to indicate us that yes, there is something wrong with this ecosystem. That is why we couldn't able to see the abundance of species A. So in this way, their abundance, their presence, as well as different, you can say that different external factors are going to tell us that yes, there is something wrong with the ecosystem. So in this way, we can say that by observing the presence, absence, abundance, as well as changes in the indicator species, we can easily able to say that yes, there is something wrong with the particular environment. It may be due to the pollution, toxin accumulation, or many more. Now let's talk about some examples, and these examples are going to help us to understand the exact concept of indicator species. So the first example is the worm. Okay, that is the soil worm which you used to see in any kind of fertile soil. So mention here, that is, changes in the functioning of the nervous system of worm are used to measure level of soil pollution. The number of earthworm in soil can also be used to indicate the health of the soil. So in the on the laboratory basis, if you check the or if you analyze the nervous system of worm, okay, so if there is a different kind of functioning or changes in the functioning as compared to the normal functioning of nervous system, so that is going to indicate that yes, there is a increased level of soil pollution, and that is why it is affecting the nervous system of worms, as well as their abundance and less population, you can say that. Okay, their abundance and less population both are going to indicate the quality of soil. Okay, that is the health of soil. If there is a lots of worms which you are going to see in a soil, that is a complete indication that yes, the health of the soil is good. But if there is a very less number of worm present, so that is indicating us that the soil health is not good for the you can say that for the crop purpose or plantation purpose. So in this way, we can say that worms are also acting as a bioindicator species or indicator species, because their abundance as well as their presence and absence, that is going to indicate us regarding the health condition of soil, as well as the functioning, normal functioning, or the modification in the functioning of the nervous system, that is also going to indicate us regarding the soil pollution level. The next example for the bioindicator or indicator species are the lichens. Okay, so these plants which live on surface such as the tree or rock or soil are very sensitive to toxin in the air. So they are very sensitive to the toxin if it is present in air. Okay, so this is because they obtain their nutrient mostly from air. We can tell our forests have clean air by the amount and the type of lichen on the tree. So this is directly giving us the indication that if in a certain area or in a forest, if there is a presence of lots of lichens, so that is indicating us that yes, the quality of air in that particular area or in that forest is very good. Okay, because lichens require fresh air, as well as there should be a good quality of air for their survival. And if they are successfully surviving in that particular ecosystem or forest, that means they are indicating that the level or the quality of air is good. Okay, but if there is a sudden disappearance of those lichens from the forest or ecosystem, so that is an indication that there is a high level of air pollution. That is why they has disappeared. So let's go through the paragraph once again. So these plants which live on surface such as the tree, rock and soil are very sensitive to the toxin in the air. This is because they obtain their nutrient mostly from air. We can tell our forests have clean air by the amount and the type of lichen on the tree. Different species of lichen have different level of susceptibility to the air pollution. So we can also get an idea of level of pollution by observing which species are present. In second line it has been mentioned, the lichens need clean air to flourish, so are good indicator of air quality of the surrounding areas. So it has been clearly mentioned here that the lichen need clean air to get flourish, to get enhancement, as well as for the growth. Okay, so if there is a problem in the air quality, or you can say that there is a air pollution, obviously they are not going to flourish in normal way. Okay, so that is like in this way only we are going to get the indication that yes, now the quality of air is not so good. That is why there is a disappearance of lichens from this particular area. Also in the first paragraph and the last line it has been mentioned that there is a presence of different species of lichen also, and all those different species has the capability to indicate the different level of air pollution. Okay, just for example, suppose one species has the capability to get disappear whenever there is a pollution level till 10%. Okay, and some other species of lichen, they will get disappear when that pollution level will going to increase up to 40%. So if we have enough idea regarding the different species of lichen as well as their property, obviously by seeing the different species in a particular area, we could able to say that what should be for right now, what should be the level of air pollution. So there are some more examples regarding the bioindicator species or indicator species. So it has been mentioned here that the bioindicator can be plants, animal, or even microorganism. So let's deal with the first point, that is, if toxin are present, certain plants may not be able to grow in the area affected, and the best example are the lichens. Okay, they are not going to grow in that area where the level of air pollution is so high. Second point, monitoring population number of animals may indicate the damage to the ecosystem in which they live. Okay, so just I have gave you example of species A, that all of a sudden there is a decrease in the abundance of species A from a certain area. So that decrease is going to indicate us that yes, there is something wrong with this environment. That is why there is a all of sudden disappearance of a particular animal, that is mainly the indicator species from that area. So their disappearance is indicating us regarding the adverse condition of a ecosystem. Third point has been mentioned, algal bloom are often used to indicate the large increase of nitrate and phosphate in lake and river. And the picture of algal bloom is representing in front of you that whenever there is a layer of green small you can say that the small algae, okay, at that time we used to call it as a algal bloom. Okay, and that is going to result in a eutrophic lake. Okay, so whenever there is a growth of high algal bloom, that is going to indicate us the condition of water bodies in which they are present. Okay, so they are indicating the level of nitrate and phosphate. More the level of nitrate and phosphate in a water body, more will be the growth of algal bloom in that particular water body. Okay, so again their growth is indicating us regarding the adverse condition, that is the high level of nitrate and phosphate in that particular water body. The last point, microorganism can also be used as an indicator of toxin in an ecosystem. Some microorganism will produce stress protein if exposed to certain pollutants. By measuring the level of stress proteins, we can get an idea of level of pollution present in the environment. So it's not only the plant and animal which is acting as an indicator species, it is going to include microorganisms also. Fine. So if we expose microorganism to certain pollutants, at that time that pollutant is going to create a stress in that particular microorganism. Okay, and due to the creation of stress condition, there will be a secretion or production of stress protein in that particular microorganism. Okay, the more the level of the stress protein, this will be estimated that the more the level of pollutants are there. Okay, so in this way, by measuring the level of stress protein that has been produced in a microorganism, we can able to estimate the level of pollution in that particular area.